Hello everyone, Zidster here, and we are here with another episode of Final Fantasy Dungeons for Dummies. Today we're doing Sunken Temple of Quarn, and my mouse just went over the gentleman who you pick up the quest from. This is a quest dungeon. You cannot do this with the duty support system, and I'm sorry, I am just laughing at my son's character running around like a chicken with her head cut off. But anyway, we cannot do this with a duty support system. This is only available through quest. This is not a main scenario quest, even though several other people have said, oh no, it's part of the quest, we have to do it at some point. For some reason it's not coming up through the duty support system, so it could be because it's a quest taken on separately. I'm not entirely sure why they do not let you do this with the duty support system, but from what I can tell thus far, this one and the one that comes after, Cutter's Cry, and that will be my next one next week that will be coming out, is not available with the duty support system, so I kind of had to beg my free company to come and help me out. I have with me today, I have Emily Tempest, I have Alicia Knox Melody, also known as Samuel Higgins. Again, shout out for his channel if you like retro games. Currently he is doing a series through Pokemon, the main series, the one that first came out, Pokemon Red, I do believe is the one he's working on. So if you're interested in Pokemon Red, he is doing it playthrough, including some of the glitches and cheats of the game. Now, in this coming up dungeon, we'll have some different mechanics. Here goes my sister. This is my sister-in-law. Here we are, Rosemine Tempest. And oh, there she goes. Okay, we got balloons. I do believe she said that she was high on apricots. Not entirely sure on that one, but she was going bonkers with her balloons. Anyway, there's some new mechanics in this that you may find interesting or annoying, depending on which way you look at it. I am going through this dungeon as a sage. That is the newest healer class that's come out since Endwalker, and Alicia Knox is going crazy watching my sister-in-law. She's laughing and covering her eyes and all sorts of crazy stuff. But here we go. Let's jump in. This is Sunken Temple of Quarn. There's been people who have come up with some really nasty names for this dungeon. However, I don't go along with those people. In this dungeon, I'm going to point out some of the things that they have changed and some of the things that most people ignore. Much like Brave Flock's Long Stop, there have been changes to this dungeon. Mostly not, shall we say, game-changing changes. Just in the fact that we can actually just skip certain areas. But we're not going to skip them today. We're going to go straight through the dungeon. And up ahead, I'm going to make one of the biggest blunders a healer can ever do. And that is not be totally prepared to go into a dungeon with someone who is going to pull an awful lot of mobs, which is not normal for me. I am usually very, very good. I have been known as MVP. I have also been told I have good heals. It took me a very long time to get to that point. I remember a day when I was told that someone's chocobo healed better than I did, which was rather insulting. So I went from being a scholar to a dragoon to avoid healing. So maybe I'm mistaking this for another dungeon that I did this in. But anyway, in here you're going to see some of these faces, these stone face things, you have to kind of take them with you later on in the game, later on in this dungeon, because you have to have them die on top of switches to open doors. It's a unique mechanic, but that's what they have you do. Yep, here I go. Yep, this is probably where I make my boo-boo. I'm pretty certain. Yep, and down goes Emily. Oh no! This is the most embarrassing thing that any healer could ever have happen, is to have the tank die during a pull. I'm not exactly sure what happened that evening. I'm not exactly sure. But I'm dead. Here we go. And we'll start again. Like I said, most embarrassing moment for any healer. Now, to be fair, sages are not pure healers. They are barrier healers. And if that barrier cannot withstand the attacks put against it, it will fail. As it did here, as you can well see. That's not to say the sages cannot deal with the pulls that white mages or astrologers can do. But unless you know your class inside and out, you're going to have that happen on occasion. Now, in this particular case, again, to be fair, we have these things called temple bees, which you just saw us kill one. Those things do a one-hit kill. It's called final sting. They die, but so does the person they hit. So it could have been possible, but at that point it wasn't my fault that it could have been final sting. It could have also been I made a boo-boo. Not entirely sure on that. Because they're there, there's no guarantees that I didn't screw up. Okay, now this boss is one of the most unique bosses I have seen in the early part of the game. You see these little panels on the floor. At one point, he's going to do an area-wide AoE. No one can get out of it. It will cause doom to be put on your characters. And this is a doom that cannot be incinerated away. If you get doom and you see a lit up panel, run over to the panel and step on it. It gets rid of the doom. DPSs, you see these bees, they will do final sting. They must be taken down as soon as they spawn. And here we go. He did his room-wide AoE. We got doom. We went over the panel, stood on it. It gets rid of the doom. As long as you keep up with that mechanic, this boss is fairly simple tank and spank. Here we go again. Another doom. Oh, and that panel disappeared, and we got to go over this one. Okay, here we go. And now we got more bees. Or wasps. They're actually wasps. My bad. Anyhow, here we go. And kill some more bees. And the boss is almost down. And down he goes. Now we will be moving on. Sorry about that. My computer made a funny sound. There we go with some more temple bees. Make sure those are taken out as quickly as possible, or the tank will die, or whoever is got their aggro. Either case, make sure they're dead. Now here we are. There's a panel, and we have to kill that face on the panel. Otherwise, the door will not open. And now we've got two more faces. Now, most of the time, in this particular case, most people ignore these two. They'll just kill them and run off, because these two open other doors that in the original way of playing the game, you had to open these doors because you had to get these special stone tablets that you needed to use at the final boss. But you had to remember, okay, this one goes here, this one goes there. They're different tablets. And you find them throughout the dungeon. But these two rooms, you wouldn't be able to get into them to get the tablets if you hadn't killed the little face statue dudes on top of the panels. Also in these rooms, I do believe one of them has a treasure chest. So I'll make sure to go in there and get those. And there we go, the Flame of Magic stone tablet is in that side. Now we're going to go all the way over here on the other side. And we're going to take out the monsters in here. Again, another reason to go in here, besides the fact of getting the tablets, there's monsters. XP. This is very important for those of us who haven't gotten to level 90 tanks. We haven't gotten to level 90, those of you who are just doing the roulettes. So keep in mind, you may have someone who wants to get that extra experience. Now that tablet was the Fruit of Knowledge. Again, I'm going to say this right now. Don't ask me which one goes on the pedestals, because even to this day, 10 years later, I have no clue. So you can look it up, you can Google it, but as far as this YouTuber is concerned, now that the way they've built the dungeon, don't worry about it, because the one thing not putting the right tablet in the right place is going to do is bring out more mobs. Again, I don't care. It's experience. So it doesn't matter. One way or another, the door will open. Sometimes you can get it to open if you know the right combination to put on the pedestal so that it'll open without the extra mobs. But if you don't, it'll summon extra mobs but open the door. So there's that. Now we're going to go through here. Now this boss is annoying for people who have trouble targeting. You have to take out the golem. I believe it's Golem Soulstone before you can work on the Temple Guardian. You take that out, you can start doing damage to the Temple Guardian. Now, the Temple Guardian takes a lot more whittling down, and in the process of doing so, what will happen is the Temple Guardian will get the Temple Soulstone back, and you'll have to switch targets again. See, there we go. That's the Golem Soulstone. So you have to take that out before you can do seriously any more damage. You can continue to attack the Temple Guardian, however, it will not do a whole lot of damage until you've taken out the Soulstone. So make sure to have that down. Not to mention the fact that the Soulstone does damage. If you take it down, it's standing still and you can continue to beat on the Guardian. And this guy is no respecter of persons. He will go for anybody. So the tank, healers, DPS, they're not exempt. He will go for whoever is there. So healers, DPS, do not yell at the tank, because that's not the tank's fault. Now we've taken him down, and we have a treasure chest, which, again, those of you who are going through this, if you see a treasure chest and you know your gear's not that good and you don't have the gil to buy new, or you haven't been able to get it any other way, check these treasure chests. Sometimes you will find, well, not to put a pun on it, but a special treasure amongst that treasure chest that you will desperately need. So those of you who have not made it to level 50, have not made it higher, don't have poetics, don't have anything to help you, please open those chests. You never know what you might find. Now here we are just taking out a few more mobs, and we are going to move on to another part of the dungeon. But again, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go into these rooms. However, it's worth it to go into these other rooms because there's other monsters. Keep in mind, when you see the pedestals, the little statues need to die on top of the pedestals. If they don't, boy, I'm not with it. Make sure that they die on top of the little platforms because they're little buttons and you have to push it. And okay, that's number 2. Come on, guys, we can do this. That's it. Come on. There we go. And down he goes. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to mess with the pedestal. Now, this is where you would use some of these things to open the doors. Don't ask me which one because I just randomly picked one. But in here is another treasure chest. And I'm going to turn around and I'm going to head to the other side. There we go. And we're just going to use another random tablet. And we got another treasure chest. Again, not necessary. A lot of people ignore them, but you know, you're going to find some cool stuff in there. Now we are on to the final section of the dungeon. Now here we have some more doors. And we're just going to pick a random tablet. Hey, looky there! We got more experience. I'm sorry, every time I see monsters, all I can see is XP. You know, it's sort of like people who see dollar signs, you know, when they see something that's worth a lot of money. I see mobs, extra kills, extra experience. So that's where I go. We clear these guys out. It opens the door to these other rooms. Now again, if you pick the right tablet to put on the pedestal, the doors will open without the extra mobs. However, why not? I mean, just why not? Just for the fun of it. I mean, seriously. Come on, this is a game, guys. You don't have to gripe and complain about having to take on extra mobs. Now, I know you're seeing me switch between people and healing, but that's what healers do. And I move rather quickly, I know, but like, again, I've said I played this game for 10 years. So, yeah, I'm very good at it. Only one other person was better than me, and unfortunately he is not with us anymore. That I am aware of. But anyway, in either one of these rooms, mind you, there's no more mobs other than the ones that you summon by putting the wrong tablet there. You get more treasure chests. And here is where a lot of people make mistakes. They don't realize that the tank is ahead of them. It's not ahead of them. They'll just keep moving on ahead. And that's what Alicia Knox did. He thought that Emily was in front of him when actually Emily was behind him, so he got the aggro and he's going, what? So, DPS, keep that in mind. Always look to see where your tank is at all times so you don't go ahead and grab the aggro. That goes the same for healers. However, in healers' cases, I can kind of just give a heads up in that case. Sometimes healers like to go ahead of the tank just a tad bit so that they can lay down their bubbles or their healing areas ahead of the tank. It saves them from a lot of emergency patchwork. Now here we go again. This is where those stupid tablets are supposed to go, and you're supposed to put them in the right order. And for years, people would put them in the wrong order. You'd summon monsters, and then they'd put them in, you know, you only had so many combinations, but each time you put it in the wrong way, it would summon more monsters. Now they have adjusted it to where, okay, you stick them in the wrong place, you only get one set of monsters, and then the door is open. Now this final boss is fairly simple, and again, we don't do the mechanics that you're really supposed to do. I really kind of wanted to, but the group I was with, it was like, we've come this far. Most people don't do these things this way anyways. It doesn't give you more mobs, it doesn't give you anything special, so we're just going to ignore it. And this mechanic that we're supposed to have done, but we didn't. You see one of those, see the Sun Gerard or whatever his name is. Anyway, you're supposed to take them and kill them on top of the 3 pedestals. Or not pedestals, but buttons or platforms, whichever way you want to put it. There's 3 of them that appear, and you're supposed to have them die on top of the pedestals. We didn't do that. Here, there's a square that appears. Anybody and everybody can go into them, but they have to be staff or whatever it is inside the square has to be taken down. That way, it's a party-wide AoE will occur and will take substantial damage. Now we're just going to knock this guy out. You have to watch out for the stakes. Now you can kill these staves or stakes or whatever they are so that you don't have these AoEs. However, the amount of time it takes to do that, it's just easier to dodge and continue to burn down the boss. Time-wise, it's easier, and in most cases, nobody minds it. And that's it. That is the end of Sunken Temple of Quarn. Well, I hope this has been helpful. And if you have any questions or any further ideas, feel free to leave me a like, leave me a comment, and please subscribe. I am trying to keep up with my schedules. I'm sorry I haven't been on in several weeks, but I got a nasty cold and you either couldn't hear my voice or it sounded funny. But I'm hoping to get back to my schedule. And again, Fridays is Final Fantasy XIV classes for dummies, so feel free to tune in on Twitch at 6 in the morning or join me on YouTube later. Again, please subscribe and have a great Eorzean day.